Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, my Uncle Jerry once said, because he always wore them, blue shirt, red tie, gray suit to get anybody to say yes. I don't know. I've used it a lot. I don't know if it's really worked or not, but I'm just giving you a dress tip. My good old Uncle Jerry always told me, blue shirt, red tie, gray suit, everybody will say yes to you. Try it, guys. You never know. Yesterday, I'm disappointed in all of you. I got no wishes. Nobody in the office, nobody in my family. Yesterday was Bulldogs Are Beautiful Day. And I didn't hear from anybody. Bulldogs being beautiful. And today, folks, is Earth Day. Just think of all the stuff we're going to have to see on television over that. Well, let's get right to it. Ma'Khia Bryant, I hope I pronounced that right, is the 16-year-old, 15-year-old girl that was shot and killed by a Columbus police officer when she had a knife attacking someone else with a knife. Now, the fight was in full force. Now, here is what nobody is talking about. If that police officer did not shoot that girl or stop that girl, and that girl killed somebody, everybody would be saying, I can't believe the police officer came and he didn't stop that girl from killing the other black girl. And thank goodness, for purposes of the media, that there were 2 black girls involved. Now I gotta ask you a question. Oh, she's just a teenage girl, Psaki said. Okay, a teenage girl. How often does it happen that a teenage girl has a knife trying to stab and kill another teenage girl? And then, you know what's amazing? There were people standing around watching this that weren't police officers. Just another day in the hood? What are you talking about here? They want to go after that police officer. And speaking about going after the police officer, LeBron James, everybody now knows this, put a picture of the Columbus police officer, what's that now called, doxxing, and said, you're next. You know what his excuse for taking it down was? He goes, well, it was helping spread hate. No, your tweets spread hate. Unbelievable. You're next. Next for what, LeBron? You know, I want to tell you something. You know what LeBron, and there's things I like about LeBron, things I can't stand about LeBron. LeBron thinks he's got to be Jim Brown. He's got to be Muhammad Ali. He's got to be one of these black athletes that make this statement. But he screws up every time he tries to do it. He needs to do a better job of picking his battles or just stop doing it. George Floyd Square. George Floyd Square is the place outside where George Floyd was killed. They've got a sign up, folks. I want to put it up on the screen. They have a sign up out there explaining the rules for white people at George Floyd Square. I thought we didn't like Jim Crow laws. Are we going to have white rules now? Are we going to have, like, okay, this is the rules for white people? Are we going to go back to certain areas where the white's going to have a drinking fountain? Whites only drinking fountains. I mean, it's absurd. Okay, these are the rules for white people at George Floyd Square. What if we had rules for black people? Well, we know what would go down. Don Lemon, the CNN guy, who just is allowed to do and say anything, has written a book, and he encourages white people to read it so they can have grace and accountability and learn some things. I got to ask you a question. How many average white Americans or black Americans or Hispanic Americans or any American is going to read Don Lemon's book? Not many. Don Lemon, think about this. CNN gives him a show. Says it all. Biden keeps bringing up, in Psaki and everything, systematic racism. Again, there's not systematic racism in Independence, Kentucky. How come systematic racism only exists in L.A., Chicago, New York, Atlanta? Why is it that the systematic racism only exists in Democratic-controlled cities and towns in America? Pretty interesting, isn't it? Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, some militant crazies went after white people dining in Brooklyn. Told them to get the hell out of Brooklyn. So white people can't dine in Brooklyn. You're not welcome there. Now again, reverse things. Can you imagine if white people were telling a group of blacks to get the hell out of Indian Hill? Why is it okay for blacks to tell whites to get the hell out of their town, but whites can't tell blacks to get out of town? That's racism. They're both racism. And this goes on. What I want you to do going forward for a while is every time one of these issues come up, just flip it in your mind and just think, okay, what would happen if we switched roles here? And it just proves the absurdity of their position. Thanksgiving. This guy came out, I think his name's Dyson. He said that at Thanksgiving, which is what, 6 freaking months away, at Thanksgiving, we should all use it as an opportunity to educate our racist family members to do better. My God. It's Peloton. You know, Peloton, first off, I want to defend Peloton. I think Peloton is a great company. They help people stay fit in their homes. But Peloton has got this program where they're teaching their employees that grandfathered and blacklisted is racist. What? These companies. What are they thinking? How's that help that company? Perpetually afraid. They are discussing that a lot of blacks are perpetually afraid, like going to the grocery store. Now, here's what nobody is saying. I believe it. You know why? Because blacks that are afraid go to the grocery store in black neighborhoods where they live, where the gangbangers are shooting other blacks. Do you think a black man is afraid to go to the grocery store in Independence, Kentucky? Nope. You think a black man is afraid to go to the grocery store in Union, Kentucky? Nope. Do you think a black man is scared to go to the grocery store in Indian Hill? Nope. They're scared to go to the grocery store in neighborhoods that are black. Who do you know is a white person that says, man, the next black guy that walks into my local Kroger, I'm going to kick his ass? It never happens. Never. Because we're not racist. That ship has sailed for average Joe Americans. Average Joe Americans no longer care about gender or sexual orientation or race anymore. We hit it. We made it. But they're trying to recreate it. Burgess Owens, I love this guy. He says it's an insult to act like blacks can't get an ID. And you know what? That's true. A black American can go get a driver's license, can he? Yes. I mean, it's absurd. The insulting. I love when conservative blacks like Burgess Owens point these things out. There's more power to it. Now, apparently the Democrats have filed a lawsuit challenging Governor DeSantis' Florida anti-riot law. Now, just think about that. I touched upon this yesterday. By golly, we want to be able to riot. Think about it. They filed a lawsuit against a bill that says no riot and violence. By golly, we want to be able to trash that Walmart down the street. We want to be able to go get all the sneakers we can get. I mean, that's how crazy it is. A lawsuit challenging protecting us from violence in Florida. Joe Biden, typical communist socialist guy, isn't he? He says, well, companies ought to let their paid workers leave work to go get the vaccine, and heck, that's a tax break for them. How many people can get a vaccine on their lunch break before they go to work, on the home from going to work, and the evening, or on the weekend? I mean, you see, well, we got to give people some more days off. We got to give them some more time off. Children's masks. Saw this on Epic Times, which I love. A medical scientist, expert, doctor says that masks for kids are really, really bad. Now, I just want to tell you something. I don't wear a mask very often. I only wear a mask because, you know, I only wear a mask during a time frame when I walk into the restaurant lobby or Planet Fitness lobby, because that's the only place I can get coronavirus. Once I get in, I can take my mask off. You know, it's the coronavirus zone. Lobby, the coronavirus zone. Okay, that short period of time for me, I'm breathing in my gunk. I can feel it. And I'm thinking about little school kids or anybody breathing in that every freaking day has to far be a worse situation than protecting them from coronavirus from somebody who doesn't have coronavirus. Spacing kids and having kids wear masks is stupid. It's also not supported by the medicine. Joe Biden, he's already saying, we got to get more people vaccinated or we got to cancel the 4th of July. You know what? Nobody's listening to these guys. Are you listening to them? I'm not listening to them. I tell you right now, Dr. Fauci, DeWine, and Bashir would have a heart attack at how our office ran during COVID. We broke all the freaking rules. Everybody's just fine. I mean, it's who listens to this crap? Are you going to cancel your? I'm going to have a 4th of July bash. Invite as many friends that my wife will let me. Senator SINEMA and Kelly from Arizona are supporting the governor's taking the National Guard down the border. Now, isn't that interesting? You know why? Because Arizonians are telling them, hey, you better do something about this. Isn't that interesting? The Democratic senators support the Arizona National Guard at the border. The Democrats are trying to pass a bill to make it more difficult for a president to do travel ban. Think about that. Trump canceled travel right away to and from China, Europe, and everything else, and he got assailed for it, calling him a misogynist, and then, he's not doing enough. It's all hypocrisy, gobbledygook bullshit. I mean, think about it. Why should we make it more? Hello? You know, it's like the border. They're not testing the illegal immigrants coming in. That's okay, but Americans have to lock down. They've lost all credibility. They have no credibility on the issue. Funny story, L.A. Now, just think of all the problems going on in Los Angeles and California. Los Angeles has decided, L.A., well, we have to crack down on disposable napkins, forks, and utensils. He can't make it up. All the crap going on in this country, in LA and California, and they're worried about disposable napkins. Water versus climate. There was a story that fresh water is much more of a concern for people than climate change. You know what? Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Manhattan. By the way, I just want to tell you, I'm down. I once talked to a lawyer, Fred Johnson, the late, great Fred Johnson. I joked, I said, hey, Fred, if I was going to get into, me and my family were going to start criminal enterprises, what criminal enterprises should we start? And he says, well, police generally don't care about gambling and prostitution. I said, oh, really? So guess what? There's going to be a whole bunch of new madams working Manhattan because the Manhattan district attorney says they're not going to prosecute prostitution anymore. Woo! Just think. Oh, what's that great movie that Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton? Texas has a whorehouse in it. Manhattan has a whole bunch of whorehouses in it. Ready to coming to a street near you, a whorehouse in Manhattan. I just want to let you know that I'm willing to be an investor. I mean, if they're not going to prosecute it. All right. Last but not least, Procter & Gamble. Remember I told you about inflation is coming? Who is the largest consumer gas is going through the roof. Who is the largest consumer products company in the world? Our very own Procter & Gamble. Guess what? They made a mint during the pandemic. Guess what they've announced? Wall Street Journal yesterday, which I read every day. Procter & Gamble in September are going to raise their prices. Woo! Inflation, here we come. By the way, I have two outstanding shows coming this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. One on economics and one on the United States of America government. They're going to be great. Today is Earth Day. Go plant a tree or a flower or do something sweet for Mother Earth. She'll repay you with a snowstorm in April. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.